Three, two, one, go. We're here. We're
Hey,
live.
hey.
Fuck it. I'll press record finally. There we go.
There you go. What up?
Do you want to hear how my week has gone so far?
Yeah, I do.
It's Wednesday. Let me tell you
Yeah.
about how my Monday went. Alright? I didn't know my company went through layoffs on Monday.
Oh,
So I didn't know until the end of the day, Calvin, right? Everybody was
yeah,
being real somber all day, and I was like, okay, what's going on? They had a meeting at 3 o'clock to talk about it,
yeah.
and I was 10 minutes late to the meeting.
No!
I missed the whole thing. I missed the entire conversation. It was terrifying. And then everybody just started like leaving the call at the end of the thing, and they were like, "Does anybody have any questions?" It was a sprint planning meeting, Calvin. We went into sprint planning. Like, I just thought, we just went. They did that and then rolled right into sprint planning.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, okay, cool, it's sprint planning. And then at the end of the meeting, I'm the last one left, and the thing was like, "Hey, do you have any questions? Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yep." Cut to the end of the day, and I have people reaching out and saying, "Hey, I'm your new blah," like, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, I need to fess up here because I need to know what just happened." So yeah, that was nuts. I've only been at the job now for about 2 months, and yeah, I just signed I signed a loan last week for a car. I sent the wire transfer that day at like 1 p.m. to go buy the
Hey,
car.
but you made the cut, though. I'm
Yeah,
guessing.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, hey.
But I've been
We're all
through
good.
but I've been through like layoffs before, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is nowadays, like before I was so empathetic and it used to be so like it really hit me, like hurt. And now I'm so I'm
Just
so
like, yeah, so used to it.
I'm so used to it, I'm just like whatever. like
Yeah.
we'll find new jobs, whatever. It's like, but it's so bad in that sense. I'm battling with it right now. But yeah, like
Yeah.
I would have taken it. I should have I kind of wish that I had known, or that in times like that I kind of wish that I would just get the thing, because there's all this like survivor's guilt after the fact, why me?
Absolutely.
And the teams are always smaller. You're expected to do more work. There's a lot of legacy knowledge that gets cut. And look, we are going or already in a recession at this point, depending on how you want to look at it. So, you know, corporates' interests be, dealing with corporate profits, right? Like you got to keep the shareholder margin high, but it's also just there was time, I guess. I don't know, you know what I mean? But I was just so blank to it. It was insane. But that was Monday.
That is a funny story for
Monday,
sure.
I almost lost my job after getting a loan.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Tuesday, yesterday. So my dog has been laying under the bed just for days on end. He's just 3 days in a row just laid under the bed. Didn't do anything all day. Wouldn't go outside. Would eat, right? Oh, he'd definitely eat, but would not do anything.
Okay.
And I was just like, what's going on here? So I had the girlfriend rush me and him over to the vet and just try to see like, hey, can we get him in? I was gonna put him in a daycare, but I decided to just like, hey, can we just dip in the vet? Let me just see if I can get like 5 minutes with these people and see like what's up. Um, we get them there. They don't have time. They've no bookings. Blah 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 blah. 3 week wait. A 3 week
My
wait
God.
to go get my dog seen. So I'm like, all right, whatever. Walk out. Start walking back home, and the dog's happy as. He's just like, just enjoying himself now. So I'm like, all right, okay, cool. I realize I don't have any poop bags because I was not expecting to go out on a walk at all, and he just takes a nice dumper on the side of the road, like a good little bit from home. And being the nice, kind Samaritan I am, I decide to walk over to the barbers across the road and go and say, "Hey, does anybody have any poop bags?" And this one woman, very nice woman, jumps up out of her seat and goes and says, "Yes, like I've got dogs." Runs out to her car and pulls out two poop bags from the side of her door. Okay, She hands me the poop bags. I take them. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I go over to the poop. I put my hand into the bag, and all of a sudden I start feeling kind of like weird, like crystally, like it just like feels like like it feels like shavings, right? That's what it feels like. It feels like kind of
Okay.
like weird, like very thin shavings of something. And I reach down and I pick up the poop and I pull it back out, and then I just pull it out, and it's all cloudy shavings of like that looks like kind of shavings of glass. And I'm just looking at this. I'm just looking at this, and I'm like, it is all over my hands, Calvin, like all over my fingers, right?
Yeah.
And now I've got the poop, and I'm just looking at it. I'm trying to rub it off, and my sweat is starting to just dissolve everything, and it is now turning into like a very sticky like material, and is just like melting into my skin. And all I can do is just be like, what the fuck is this? What? like is this meth? like, what is happening here? And I'm like, I gotta get the fuck home. I don't even bother going back to the woman, because at this point I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, and I just keep walking, and I keep trying to scratch it, and the more I move it, the more it just melts, and the more it's sticky, and now it's just like coated all my fingers. And I had the bag, but like there was nothing on it afterwards. It was just like, because I pulled it inside out and been like holding it.
Right.
So now I'm just like, yeah. So I start walking home, try to run into the gas station, bathrooms for to wash my hands, bathrooms for customers. So I'm like, right, run, get home as quickly as possible. By the time I get home, it's just like it's all in my skin at that point.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, I am either gonna be eyes balls for like the next while. Like, what kind of ride am I gonna go on? I'm Googling, I'm trying to check out images, like trying to remember, like, what did I see? Like, what the fuck is this on my hand? So, yeah, either this woman kept, like, sugar or a donut in a dog poop bag at her driver door, or, yeah, it was just straight up, I put my hand in a bag of meth to pick up dog poop.
Was it some sort of like special anti-dog poop material to keep it from smelling?
No,
Wow, that is scary.
It was the regular poop bag that we get. That's from our.
Okay.
Yeah, like from dog parks around here, they all have the same like government poop bag, right? Yeah, so that was fun. That was my Tuesday. Yep.
Can't top this.
Oh, that's great. It's 8:30. 8:30 this morning. I'm gonna have a good Wednesday today.
For me, the only thing out of the ordinary is I went to see Top Gun for the third time, because that movie is fantastic.
Third time.
Not quite same as yours. But we watched it because they brought it back into IMAX. Now, I'm not a massive moviegoer, but I didn't think that they frequently took stuff back into IMAX, so decided to see it with the giant screen, and I definitely think it was worth it.
Yeah, it's probably worth it. That's probably worth it. I liked it. I watched it once.
Yeah.
But then I'm constantly like bereaved with the moral argument of like, do I give Tom Cruise more money?
Right.
Like, dog, you can't just keep putting jets in front of me and just being, and just, like, I will buy it. Like, stop. Do you know what's so frustrating is that since watching that movie, I've now watched 2 other Mission Impossible movies from the catalog.
Same.
And I'm like, these are fucking great. I watched Ghost Protocol, and they walk into the
Hold up. I've only seen 1 through 4.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay. I don't know which one that is. I think that is
5, maybe, if I had to guess.
But yeah, it's on the preview on Netflix, if I can say that part.
You know what?
Right?
Just say it.
Okay.
I don't care.
They're in their suits. They whip open this screen from nowhere, right? And the screen has an eye tracker for the guard, and it locks on and moves the perspective of the image of the corridor to his eyes based on the distance of the thing. So it looks like it's parallaxed all the way back into the thing. And I'm like, damn, that's kind of smart though. It's kind of like that could work. Maybe no, not really, but maybe, you know. Like, I liked it. I liked it. The visuals were good. It has like a weird impact. Like, there's a feeling that everything can go wrong really, really quickly, and it seems to be like when things do go wrong, it is a compounding, this is really going wrong type of problem.
I was definitely thinking of that. I was thinking about conflict and tension, kind of while I was watching, because these are heists with very competent people, and you're like, in a normal situation, they're like, okay, they're gonna get out of this scot free. But it seems like this movie and also Top Gun 2, it's like all these compounding errors and things that could happen, and they just keep throwing it, much like a game, so that it keeps you on your toes, and you're always they're always dealing with something. So it's very interesting in that regard.
Yeah, like I did like the Top Gun thing because they did kind of go into the mission with no resolution of like this. No one did it.
Yeah, exactly.
No one did it, and
They
then
built it up.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean that movie was weird though too. It's like the fake enemy, you know, like, and then there was like a Russian helicopter again. It's like, can we stop, please? Like, I don't want to start building tensions against all of these groups yet again. But I guess they need a fake enemy. What did you think of what did you think of the scene where they just walk onto the airfield?
There's a lot of movie magic going on and hand waving for sure. But I mean, there was smoke everywhere. It's like maybe you could pull it off. They basically implied that, I guess.
I got that. I got it all the way up until they actually brought the plane out. Then I was like, okay, is anyone gonna, you know, like, is there anybody gonna be like, walk over and say, hey, dude, there's no runway. Where are you gonna go?
Yeah, a lot of hand waving, but hey, man, it's Maverick. You know, he can do whatever he wants,
No,
including.
That's totally true. You want to talk about games?
Yeah.
Well,
oh, you know, I want to quick lead up into that. So there's a new fighting game that just came out, which is DNF Duel, which is it's a game based on the Dungeon Fighter Online franchise.
Okay.
Which the Western audience isn't as keen on, but that game is a top 10 game of all time in terms of revenue. Yeah. Let me. It's like number 7. I'm gonna bring it up real quick.
Yeah, drop it. The franchise sounded familiar, but
yeah,
I've never played them.
Let me see if I can. Oh, it's not popping up when I look for it.
They're suppressing its greatness.
Ah, here it is. So it's in the top 50 highest grossing game franchises. Let's see, it's 1, 2. It's number 7 in terms of revenue of all time.
Of all time.
Yeah, so this really throws a wrench in most people's lists because again it has more of an Asian presence than the other one. But anyways, the original game was a beat 'em up MMO, and I definitely loved it. But they made a fighting game now. This is all kind of a roundabout way to say I was looking at streams last night, and much like you said with Mission Impossible, there was one that had eye tracking on the stream, and I was like, oh, okay. I haven't seen this yet. People are buying eye trackers, I guess, and putting it onto their streams. I don't know if you've seen it before.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Oh, you have. Okay. Is it mostly for FPS people, I guess?
No, like people do. I've honestly seen them, but like people just do them for fun, where they're like we're gonna give you two images, and it's like, where did your eyes go to first, right? You know.
Yeah.
But excuse me.
I thought it was.
I think they're pretty
Yeah,
cool.
I thought it was weird for a fighting game. Yeah, it's definitely cool. I thought it was weird for a fighting game because you're only really looking at one or two spots, your health and the enemy. So I didn't know what to
Yeah,
make of this.
could be like specifics. I don't know, but you're totally right. Yeah, it doesn't seem to make sense for the thing. So, but maybe were they a variety streamer as well? Sorry.
I didn't look too much further, but I mean that would make sense, especially all the people in the life category.
That looks like a cool game though. I don't know how it
Yeah.
works with the whole side-scrolly stuff, but it seems interesting.
Yeah. They turned it into a fighting game, and it's a bit very roughly like Guilty Gear, so that style of game. It has simplified inputs, so kind of like Smash. I think that's a big deal.
Real time?
Yeah,
It looked
yeah,
like
yeah.
that there was like skill bars and like like abilities that I could press and stuff like that. Rather than
I think you were looking at the original game, not the fighting game that just came out. But the fighting game, yeah, it's one of the few fighting games to have simplified controls, which we're almost all sure that Project L is going to have. And it'll be interesting to observe how this game appeals to the casual crowd.
free to play.
No, it's not. It's $50, which is why I haven't played it. I'm like bumming off of people. Yep, I'm like, hey, can you Steam remote play me in and stuff.
Really?
Yep.
How is that in terms of the
I haven't
lag?
tried it yet, but I've tried it on previous games. It's a little rough, but I just wanna try out the characters and stuff.
Yeah, but I'm a god. You know, just a god-given talent over here. I'll crush my friends. They suck. That's crazy. I don't know how well that's gonna do. I mean, let's just talk about the marketing position right now. Like,
Yep.
I guess there's a crack core audience. Obviously, there's a top grossing thing, so people are gonna buy it, right? Did they have anything crazy with the multiplayer, or is it a really core, great single player experience? Like,
Dude, I mean, that's a great question on its features. It does not. I was so disappointed
ooh,
because I've put in like hundreds of hours into the original DFO and stuff, and it's fun. Just imagine playing a game like Streets of Rage or something, but
yeah.
you can level up for hours and hours on end. And I was like, oh my god, please put in a single player for this game, so that people who aren't into just grinding multiplayer all the time can just have fun and play single player and get better at the game. They do not. They do not have a single player. That's worth talking about.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, here's the thing. It's like, how, I mean, look, if it's a top grossing game 7 times, or like a top 7 all time most grossing games, then there's an audience, right? So somebody is buying this thing. So I'm talking on my total ass. But if you want to drop a $50, fighting game for a kind of a niche audience, like, and then have multiplayer and rely on multiplayer, well, like, you're gonna be relying on bots. Like who's gonna be playing that game? Like, you got like 100 people in lobbies, like,
Yeah.
maybe, like, I don't know, but that's I think neither here nor there. There's obviously a bigger audience abroad. There's obviously a bigger, niche of people. But yeah, it's always funny to see things like that where you're just like, whoa, how many people really are gonna be retained in that product, like, over time.
Yeah. No. I mean, even though you're just spitballing, I think you're totally right. I mean, there's a very similar game, Grand Blue Verse, which is also Grand Blue is a huge IP in Japan. Their mobile game is one of the top franchises. It's by the same company, so ArcSys also made a fighting game. And let me double check the numbers on it because it's probably going to be fairly similar. All right, yeah, Grand Blue looks like it moved like $1.5 million. So I know for certain like very few people play this game online nowadays. So maybe it's that like people are just gonna buy it because of the franchise, screw around a bit, but then like maybe no longevity really.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I mean, people will say that like if you're gonna do the big box retail, like that's part of your retention models. Like somebody spent $50 up front, like they're gonna stick around for a little bit, and on release, then they'll stick around, and the hardcore players will play. They'll be the ones that'll actually want to do it. But yeah, you know what I mean. Just if they can turn a profit that way, great. You know what I mean. Obviously, just keep churning that bell, I guess, right? But yeah, that landscape is going to change really rapidly soon. So even at a $50 price point, that's going to be too high for most players that are going to want to go into, as we were talking about on Discord there the other day, like if Riot is going to come in with this great timing and marketing position with a free to play fighting game, then how is that going to take away from all of these other communities that are all like big box retail games? Like, why would people buy another one if all the prize money is here, and it's free, and the best competition is here, and I can always get a game? Like,
Yeah, you know what's a really good example of that? Brawlhalla, which is a free-to-play Smash derivative game, that kind of set the stage for some of the current games that came out. Nickelodeon made a platform fighter, Nickelodeon All Stars or something like that. Um, that was
that
a
had
full blown game.
promise. Didn't it have
What's that?
like? Didn't that one have like really good promise?
So it did, but a surprisingly big factor was that it did not have voice acting. And when you just watched the game, it felt kind of dead.
Dead.
Even
Ooh.
though it's such a small bullet point normally, especially to a game designer, you're like, look at my gameplay. It's so tight and whatever. The voice acting was actually a really bad flaw that people kept poking at.
And that's a licensing problem.
Yeah,
They have license to the image, but probably not
I I
the
think
sounds.
so, and or maybe they didn't have the money to get the voice actors. They did add it in like 3 weeks ago or something, so it finally did come in. But it that game basically got to run around freely for I don't know how many months. I'm gonna guess like 3 months until WB Multiverses came out, and they're like, we're free to play. We have voice acting. They really drilled into voice acting, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna have 2v2, and we're gonna have collectibles, and it just like had so many more features than the Nintendo game, which was I think it's a $60 game, or 40 to $60 game, and it was it was dead, man. Like I can't
Instantly.
personally imagine why somebody would buy the Nickelodeon game.
Because they
What?
would think it all because it's still on the market, and they would think it's a cool game, and then they go download it, they spend that money, and they're like, I'm gonna play it, and you can't do anything.
Yeah, I see that it's on sale for 70% off right now, the Nickelodeon game. So they're doing whatever they can to salvage it. So yeah, man, the big company free to play games, that's scary. That's scary to a lot of these mid tier devs, I think.
Yeah, they got the war chests. They really do got the big bucks, which means they can buy the users and they can buy the pros. And if you can buy the pros, that's how you bring the audience. The that's what K factor is these days, right? Social virality. One person gets you three other impressions or three other people and two downloads. Like that's great marketing. That's what you want because that other person then is going to go off and tell somebody else, and they're going to go tell try to get three people, and you need to try to push that chain as hard as possible. But if you can get you know one person that gets 100 people and 1,000 impressions, well, it's like yeah, you're gonna hopefully convert over time, but it's
You
all
know,
about now what do they say about that thing, and that's the double-edged sword of it all.
yeah, and there's one thing that Multiverses does better, in my opinion, than just about any other fighting game, which is they focus on 2v2. which is inherent virality because I mean, think about how many people have ever asked you to play League with them. It's like, hey, we need a fifth, play League with us, and that's a great. Team games are a very easy way to encourage spread, basically.
WWE, like, like you had the Dudley brothers or whatever, right? You know what I mean? Dynamic duos are a dime a dozen, but I'm surprised that they push that so hard in a fighting game because I feel
Yeah.
like in a fighting game, the community is more solo. It's not based around cooperative anything. It is, I'm about to pound your ass, right? I'm about to take you, and I'm going to take everybody in this hall, and I'm going to beat everybody right now. And like, yeah, you can get that as a duo, but I think that that's a harder, it's a harder sell. It's a harder thing to then also like conjure up, because if you, one of the things, like, again, I'm going to go back to the marketing side, but villains and heroes is a very very common thing, especially in any sort of competitive scene, right? And what you want to do is try to tell the story of your characters, who are the actual fighters, the people who are actually like participating in competition, and tell their story over time, so that people know, like, from competition to competition, like, this is who this person is. And then they start trying to create different scenarios, or for the commentators and stuff, but it's all color casting, right? It's what it's called, right? Like, trying to paint that story of this person's journey through the competition. But over time, I think in the fighting game tournaments, yeah, you really do get those villains, like Levin,
100%.
right?
Yeah.
And those dudes sell. So one person can really push that, and you get a lot of different dynamics. But if you have to center around two people, does everything become more tame? How does that game deal with, like, how is the community's reaction? It's WB, right? So it's like Warner Brothers and all of their IP. So
Yeah.
it's cartoony stuff. So it's not very serious. It's not Ryu. It's not Ken. It's not like, you know what I mean? So
So yes and no. They got the Game of Thrones characters in there. They have Arya Stark. But
okay.
she is cartoonized a bit. But they have her, and there's like rumors Gandalf is gonna be in it. I don't know if it's a joke, but yeah, WB extends quite a bit. And if they brought in Game of Thrones characters, I think they kind of set the stage for other serious characters, not just Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, if I mean, WB Metaverse or whatever. But yeah,
Yeah,
if it's that case and they go kind of silly with it, I'd be all down, because
yeah,
like I would love to see, yeah, just like Gandalf come out of nowhere and just
yeah, yeah.
start wrecking people. Absolutely.
It's like Space Jam. Any character that you saw in Space Jam 2 can be in this one. So you might get LeBron or something. I would definitely play him.
I love it. If you've ever watched those corridor digital YouTube web series, huge YouTube channel. My God, I can't speak today. I can't speak any day, but I think even today it's even worse. But yeah, so they did a breakdown of that movie, and one of the biggest things that they said was like, there's way too much going on in the background. It's like everything is competing for my vision line. It's like there's thousands of characters doing something different, and everybody's doing something different, and everybody's trying to stand out, and then the actual game just like melts into the background. It's like you can't see anything. So little
Yeah.
good old UX principle of like first priorities. What are you supposed to be looking at? What do I want you to be looking at? So I can
Agreed.
focus you there.
So it goes against principles of noise and UX and stuff. However, when you do something like that, it built up so much. I won't say hype. I'll say it built up a lot of press beforehand because people were like, "Hey, these people from this movie. Here's King Kong," and you are already seeing this stuff like pop up on Reddit and everywhere, even if you didn't care about it.
I can get behind that. I can
Yeah.
see that.
You touch on something interesting, which is the storylines of esports.
Mhm.
You're absolutely right. Storylines make every match much more exciting, especially if characters have a history of it. And I think it's interesting to think about. Okay, so as a new person to a scene, like if I watched a CS:GO tourney, I wouldn't know any stories. I'd be relying on the commentary heavily about that to be drawn into it. There was something that in Street Fighter 4, some the producers intentionally did. I want to hear your thoughts on this. What they did was they made a character, Yun. They made him intentionally strong, borderline broken.
Okay.
This is very bold, and they even said it. They said they wanted to make a villain character, and indeed in that tournament, um, in top 32, there must have been at least 20 Yuns. It was really rough to watch top 32 when I was personally at there. So I was curious. First off, what's your first impression on that sort of balancing before I chime in a little bit more?
Yeah, it goes back to all right. So, a couple of different sides of this. One, it's crap because it fucks with the inherent balance of the tournament. You're ruining competitive play. The tournament is now not competitive unless you min max and play that one character. But if you've just not trained that one character because it wasn't strong and now is, and it wasn't part of the tier list that you had to care about, and you didn't prioritize it, well, I mean, now you're punished. The game developers have punished breadth, right? Like, or sorry, punished depth. So that's a weird thing to also then call to your fans with.
Yeah.
Where it's like, well, I mean, you went deep on one character and you learned one character, or maybe you learned three characters like really, really well out of like a pool of 20. Well, I mean, you should have probably learned 15 characters, but then how deep can you go on 15 characters, right? So inherently, you kind of are starting to mess with the competitive pool of players in terms of their minds of who should I prioritize in my practice play, and how should I accomplish getting a better knowledge across the board, right?
Yeah.
So individual character skill goes down, and you won't see like, or that's the thought, right? Like especially if you keep doing that, that's what happens.
Yeah.
The second side of this though too is it's actually brilliant. Where it's fucking diabolical. It's like we don't give a shit about any of you.
Yeah.
Play that fucking character or you lose.
Yeah.
Or risk going against that character with your own character that you've gone really deep on and be a god, right? So I think that the biggest thing is that it is stated. Like it's fine to I think that I mean Clash Royale's doing it right now, and this is mobile it's bullshit, but it is like a highly competitive mobile game, right? Tournaments they have different things going on too, but in the season, certain cards are just boosted over other cards, and that's to try and promote deck iterations over the season, so that
Well, real quick,
yeah,
how can you tell which one's boosted and not?
they tell
Or
you.
do you? Oh, they tell you. Wow.
Yeah, they
Okay.
tell you
Okay.
straight up that it's like this card is boosted for this period of the event, and you're like, okay, well I should probably put that into my deck. Now they don't really tell you how what is boosted, right? Like it could be like fucking 5 hit points, you have no idea, but you know, some inherent advantage is coming from that card, or that card is now better than what it should be. So if it's a good card and it's already better, then it's like great, maybe I can build a deck around that, and then they promote iteration within the player's deck, which promotes more breadth within the card structures and more leveling and better, better overall understanding of game mechanics. Hopefully, that you don't just learn like a subset and just get really really good with that.
Absolutely.
But I do love that it's called out. See, like that's the thing. If they just go and say, yeah, like this character's just stronger than everybody else right now. Like we've bumped them 5% across the board. It's gonna, it's not gonna kill you, but it's gonna hurt. And if you're good with that character, then you have an innate advantage. But if it's within the season of like ranked play, it's not just like a one-off tournament. Like I think that becomes a little bit different then too, because you either have to set a precedent that you're gonna do this like all the time, but then people are just gonna chase and find that character and then play that character, and then you're gonna get no diversity within your gameplay, right? Like hey, top 30 are all playing the exact same character. Oh,
Yeah,
great.
yeah,
It's StarCraft and it's Protoss versus Protoss and it's the entire tournament.
yeah,
Everybody's doing the same thing.
yeah,
So and you're shooting yourself in the foot, but you're also building a bunch of press and publicity around it, especially. And if you can do those storylines well, or some storyline comes out, storylines make headlines. It's like if you could get a god gamer who did come up through the ranks and was just playing their own character and then beat everybody else, that would be pretty cool, you know. But overall for competitive play, level the playing field as much as possible. There's no point in really doing that. It's kind of annoying for the players, but if you actually do, I think, one off it, call it out in like a very singular tournament, and you know play it that way and try to see if you can make something from it. Like, all right, whatever. You know what I mean? Try it out. That sounds cool.
man, that was super perceptive. I didn't mean to put you on the design spot there, but you really nailed a lot of the effects that actually did happen. Um, so yes, so the top 32 was really hard to watch, and I imagine it really did affect viewership because it's like, oh, it's Yun versus Yun, Yun versus Yun. But in top eight, first off, Yun did not win the tournament, and this is more because of fighting games. Because in fighting games, matchup knowledge is very important. So
Mm-hmm.
the problem is with playing a popular character, even if he's overpowered, is that everyone gets to practice against your character while you don't really get to practice against them. So
Mm.
that's more of a unique thing. Um, but you're right. So this is what I wanted to bring up because you're talking about storylines and how you generally need to be like a, a repeated viewer to kind of keep following the storylines. The interesting thing about this is that I think a viewer who is like, I'm just going to watch Evo for the first time, they actually don't even if the commentary was turned off, they could be like, man, this character is really strong. Everyone's playing him. And there's an inherent storyline where they can detect the heroes and villains without any knowledge of what's going on. And I think that there is definitely something to be said there because yeah, as humans, we if we don't have already have the information in our brains, we're deriving it from the environment, and this applies to general game design. Um, so when when these characters were losing in top eight, they were absolutely making headlines, and they were absolutely like going down as like all time great matches for people to watch years later. So those are that was a very strong effect. To your point about the seasons, luckily they only did this for like, yeah, basically one season, and then they kept going back to balance. So it was one off, and I think if they kept doing it, it would achieve the effect that you said. Because I think League of Legends, um, I think people complain about the balance all the time in that game. They're like, hey, this is flavor of the month. This is
My
flavor of the
character
month.
doesn't do 1,000 damage anymore? What are you talking about? I don't understand. I just can't blow up a tank as an ADC? What are you talking about? How does that
Yeah.
make sense?
So yeah, there's something to be said about Clash Royale, and also I guess Street Fighter calling out actually what's going to be strong. It's definitely a different approach that maybe makes people a little less frustrated because it's communicated.
Look,
But
I kind of love it, especially if it was at an Evo tournament, because
yeah,
the big hero and villain side is like, who's gonna sell out? Who's
yeah,
gonna sell
yeah,
out and choose the strong Imba character that they've
yeah,
literally said, hey, this is Imba, and then you lose. You're
yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh, what? You know what I mean? You're not skilled enough with your own character. You haven't put
yeah,
enough hours into your goddamn main. Dude, he's got 5% buff. It's nothing. Just don't get hit. Just beat the other guy. Be better. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I could totally see Evo players like just freaking out on these other people, just calling them sellouts and just being like, "Oh yeah, you're not skilled, not skilled. You only play for power. Like fuck you."
that was exactly it. And not only that, but it created a new storyline for a person who was like, I got tired of the crowd booing me, and he was like, I needed the audience approval. So actually, like the next year or maybe the one after that, he switched to a character considered low tier. Um, and he was so obscure that nobody could practice against his character because nobody played him. So he gained a significant knowledge advantage. But this wasn't apparent. You know, when people see him, they're just like, "Oh man, this guy's a low tier hero."
This
He
wasn't the
ended up
bear, was it? In Tekken?
that is very
Some
similar.
player did the
Yeah,
exact same thing and just started wrecking people with Panda for like
that is
a solid whole season.
yep. And then he won like a huge tournament. You're absolutely right. That's Rangshu that won with Panda. It's exactly like that. This Street Fighter player ended up winning Evo, and yeah, that was a really good storyline that
Yeah.
came out of it.
Wow. From zero to hero, from sellout like
Yeah,
to like no style sellout. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
you had no charisma to even play your own battle, and then so you just pick something else off the top
yeah.
at a massive tournament like Evo.
And he made it known. He's like, I wanted redemption in a way, and he sort of got it. So.
That's hard. That's good. It's hard when they don't get that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's funny now seeing like esports people like 10 years on as well, and it's just like, yeah, like they're still on the promos, and now they're moving from like head coach to bench to to like in-game shot caller again, back up to head coach to like I'm retiring for another 2. And then like they come
Yeah.
back again, and I mean, fair play. They're all richer than I'll ever be in my entire life, but like it's cool. But I just think that competitive scenes the world around are scenes, right? Like it doesn't matter what the game is. Same way that you have your fighting game tournament stuff, right? Though the video that you showed me where all of a sudden it was the final and they were playing the icebreaker board game where they had penguins and they're just like little hammers and they're hitting things, and all of a sudden like before that they were playing a game about pirates like shooting each other or something like that in 2D.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, that's classic. Like competitive is competitive the way around. So it's about how these studios are managing their presence within these ecosystems, and I mean, some are just constantly doing better than others. But it is sad to see the constant decline of ESL, um, the one original great like esport league. I've just basically just seen the prize pools for a lot of these games just kind of go down the hill, and I don't know how those things are gonna. I don't know where that's gonna go now in the near future. Because ESL
Yeah.
just not here in 7 years.
Yeah, like I had, yeah, I haven't thought too much on the direct esports side. Mostly like how our fighting game is gonna do better, but yeah, like what do you think, man? Everyone always talks about the future of esports, and everyone gives all their hot takes. But you've probably been following it a lot longer than I have, and just,
I just like, where's MLG? Do you remember MLG leagues? I remember MLG
Yeah.
leagues. Like,
Yeah,
I think that the reality is that like look at where Riot has gone with their things. If you keep your own ecosystem and keep it within house and treat it as its own business, then and part of your marketing arm, make it family friendly and kind of really dull it down, as well. Like that's the things, you can't really build characters in the same way because people don't feel like that they're more robots. It's like, I am here to play the game, and my avatar is the actual character that I really show, but like otherwise it's like I showed up to the game and I put my keyboard down and I use the mouse and I win the game. And it's like that's how much character we get out of these things, or the personality seems like really forced. But they're also young kids. I mean, some of these kids are like what I mean, not even 18 or whatever, right? Too. So it's like they have no personality either. But that's why I think the fighting game thing is so needed within the community. Like I know there's violence at certain times. There has been crazy messes. And look, I'm not saying let's go back to the Call of Duty era where people were computer to computer and just berating each other like during the game while the game is going. Some things are off limits, but like those are the times that I grew up in. 5v5 LANs playing Counter-Strike. All of our computers are here. Your computers are right there. We get around. Fuck yeah! Like we win the game. Fuck yeah!
Oh, yeah.
And then as soon as they're finished, we're up screaming 5v5. Get over here, high skill, and like we're sorting out the money matches. We're figuring out how it's gonna work, right? Yeah, you got your stuff. Put the money down at the top of the table with the two captains, and then just start playing. And then I mean, it was just that, and it was those LAN days were great.
Absolutely.
But that level of abuse, of like not abuse but banter, right? That level of banter has gone in
Yes.
this homogenized world of esports, right? It's just
Yeah.
gone. Brand friendly, family friendly, can't advertise off of it, and I get that. And to be honest, yeah, a lot of it needed to go away. But am I still happy about it? No, I'm sad about it. You
It's in
never,
real sports too.
yeah.
Like the NBA. If you throw any sort of emotion, man, you'll get a foul. So it's just a little different.
It's a little, yeah, like, I mean, I think that if you look at Michael Jordan, like, look at the greats in sports. They threw everything into those games, and at times things became heated, emotional. I mean, there's a prima donna-esqueness of screaming and shouting at different calls and blah blah blah, but there's a drive to push through all of that to achieve the goal. And you need to see that passion. And that passion, one, comes out through play, but it also comes out through all of the other interactions that are happening, right? And how I can talk to my team, and how I can also kind of mind game the other team. Because people don't want to believe that mind games are a part of competitive sports, but it's a gigantic part of it. And banter, especially pre-game banter, is part of that. And that's not just you being like, I will mop the floor with this person. Like you know what I mean? It's not that, but it's like being in their head a little bit. And can you really try to get there? And those things come from like little interactions of you're just talking to them during the game. It's like, oh, missed that timing, didn't you?
Yep.
Missed that timing, didn't you? Oh, you missed it again. Oh, you see that? You missed it again? Oh, look, now I'm going to take it. I'm taking advantage. Look at that. 3-point combo. What you going to do? Huh? I thought you were better than this. You're not better than this? Jeez, dude. Waste my time, man. What the hell? And you just keep squawking at him. Just squawking at him. Just put him on tilt as hard as possible, right? But you can do that through banter and do it nicely. And I think that we need a level of that. Like, I do want a level of that. But, like, how much does that interfere with competitive play? But I think that just players should just be better with, like, they need to learn how to kind of, like, handle that side of it. But I do enjoy, you know what I mean? That has gone away in modern esports. And
I totally agree, and kind of like you said with age earlier, yeah, if you think about a 15-year-old trying to do this banner, it's gonna quickly slip into very annoying territory rather than friendly banter.
Yeah.
So.
They can't do it, you know what I mean? I got years of experience doing this.
Subtlety.
My girlfriend and her friend and another and her friend's partner were like harassed at a restaurant there the other day, right? And this guy just kept coming over, just like, hey, I want to take you two home. Like, what's going on? Like, I'm gonna take you two home. And the other guy just didn't really say anything. She was telling me, and I was like, oh my god, if I was there, only if I was there. It's like, yep. Oh, dude, I'm right here. They don't want to go, but I'm right here. Like, what do you think? Is your name? What's your name? Is your name Joe? Dude, I like you, Joe. How's it going? What you drinking? Oh, do you want a beer? I'll go get you another beer. You want to come? Like, dude, like, come on, like, bathroom's just right over there. I would mess with this guy. Like, I'd drive it all to me, and I'd just mess with him until his mind broke and he just walked away and never came back. But, like, there's a level of skill there that I want to see developed. Mind games is not part of esports anymore, and I want it.
Yeah.
Nah, I don't know. You know what I mean? should it be all about the skill of the game? Should it just be inherently, that I don't know, because you think about it, like it feels like the teams are abstracted away from the people at times.
Yes.
Like where it's like we're talking about Fnatic or NRG, and it's like great, but like who's who is that person, and behind the keyboard, and obviously that's then the storyline, the color, and blah blah blah, and the history, and but I don't necessarily care about any of those people either. It's just like I just want to know what the struggle that they're going through behind that keyboard is.
Exactly.
I want to know what their process is and how they're thinking about the game there in that moment. And I guess that's what tech analysts are supposed to do. Blah blah blah. But yeah, it's just hard. I don't know what it is. Maybe I just don't care.
Yeah, there are a lot of games that kind of integrate the esports right into like the launcher, and you can see it. But if it's just like the teams and empty faces, it's hard to get into it. I don't know how they can bubble up the storyline and the emotion and the human element to the front page, but that's probably the way to go. Somehow.
Yeah, I think it's great play feels like it's the thing that like will grip me back to a game. Like, is there ever tournaments for games that you don't play that you'll just go and watch?
Only because fighting game tournaments have a history of running like 8 games at a tourney, so you do just kind of naturally watch the other games. But I think in a normal scenario, I won't say so. No.
Yeah, TI, right? Like I'll watch Dota, but I'll watch like the final. I don't really know what's happening, but like I'll watch it, and same thing with I'll watch the League of Legends World Championship finals at times, but I always go back to StarCraft.
Oh, okay.
I still constantly go back and watch reruns of White Raw versus Blah or Scarlet playing anybody, and I just enjoy it. I don't know, there's that game specifically in terms of the esports, everything that went behind it, and all of the characters involved, like I definitely fell deeper for than all of the other ones.
Interesting.
And I don't know if it's just because it's one player playing many characters and basically being that general, but I think just some of the characters are just good. I think that the whole thing of like everybody's a foreigner unless you're Korean is hilarious. And I love seeing Westerners go to Korea and try to face Koreans, and the Koreans are just like, this ain't your game, bro. Like,
yep.
Not your game. Like, no.
Yeah,
They're so poncy about it. So poncy. They're like, and some of the some of the games for those tournaments were insane. Like when it's the teams and you have like 12 players against 12 players, and it's like you sit your 2 first players, and then whoever loses gets up off the seat, and you put your 2. So your 2 then plays your 1, and then if that 1 can knock out more people, it's like you can get almost like a pitcher in baseball. It's like you can get the clean sweep, and it's just like, what are you talking about? I can do this all day. Like all the teams are just going crazy whenever somebody can win a couple of matches in a row.
Yeah.
Because it's like you're never really expected to win more than one. If you win more than one, you're like, okay, good job. Like, nice job. You did your part. You got us through that. Yeah, sure, you lost the other one, but whatever, right? You got us the one. So your batting average was 0. If you can get anywhere over that, everybody's freaking out. Of just like, how long can this last? And then they lose the next game. We're like, all right, next one. I want more of that. More of that again.
And I know we're wrapping up, but a quick note about same thing what I talked about with inherent storylines. So when you're picking a team to follow in League or whatever, you really don't know much other than like, hey, I've heard of Team Liquid before or something like that. But when it comes to international play, like you said, that is something where people inherently have a tribe that they can follow. Because when it comes to Tekken scene, the most interesting storyline I've seen in like the past decade almost was that Pakistan, of all the countries, magically had a Tekken scene, and they came out and they were like they're like in Dragon Ball Z, the alien Saiyans that came out of nowhere, and they beat everyone. They beat the Koreans.
Oh, they beat everybody?
They beat the Koreans. Yeah, and they're like, who are these god gamers? And let me tell you one last thing. The guy that came out and swept everyone in Tekken, he was like, "Oh, I'm not even the strongest person from Pakistan," and then he just flew home. And it was like, yeah, exactly. Everyone has, yeah, people just had the reaction that you said, and like I don't know, maybe teams can highlight more international, or games can highlight international play more. That way, even casuals can stand by their country. There's a few things. It's an interesting topic.
We got a couple more minutes, whatever. But I want to know your point on this because that sounds great, right?
Yeah.
Back in the day, right? You ever watch like? Are you a Wu-Tang kind of guy?
I'm not.
Okay, right. So listen to a couple of Wu-Tang albums, and then you start going back and watching old kung fu movies again. So when you watch these things, it's all of these people coming from different provinces and just being like,
Yes.
fight me. I am the
Yes.
strongest. Fight me. Like, I will beat everybody, right? And I feel like fighting game tournaments feels a little bit like that, but also
Yeah.
those communities used to be very localized, and the styles were very unique to the individual dojos or whatever.
Exactly.
Why haven't there been dojos for fighting game groups, and we have like fighting game, senseis, and like, why haven't they pulled in that structure?
Dude, that is brilliant, and that was how arcades were. They're like, hey, even if it was just a
An
town, it's like,
arcade is your
yeah.
dojo for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And then like there's different styles, and it was like notorious for Marvel vs. Capcom that the East Coast played defensively, and then the West Coast played offensively. So they always had these interesting clashes, where you can see the philosophies, go at it. So that's a very good analogy you made.
I want it. That would be so funny to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, all right, dude. Well, that's crazy. That was good to get through. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon, okay?
You too.